Om. ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मआणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। First of all, on this auspicious day of Diwali, I wish all the listeners a very, very happy, prosperous and an auspicious Deepavali. May God bless all of you, all of us, to have a life which is full of the light of knowledge and wisdom, that every action and everything we do in our life is always protected or always illumined by this knowledge and wisdom, so that our actions become beautiful and our life becomes easy and peaceful for all of us. So, because us it's Deepavali, you may hear some, bursting of crackers at the background, but just ignore that. Just listen to what we are going to cover in today's session. So in the last session, we left at verse number 45. And I'll read the verse and then we'll take up into, go into the detail of this verse, from today. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastha Niryogatshema Atmavan Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryogatshema Atmavan. First thing you would notice that when I chanted this 45th verse first, I used the word Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastha Niryogatshema Atmavan. Whereas the original verse which I chanted afterwards is Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho Niryogatshema Atmavan. The reason it is chanted is that when we split into the whole verse into 4 portions, then when we end one particular first portion of it, we put usually a visarga on it. That's why the Traigunya Vishaya Veda becomes Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Then Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. The third part of it is Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastho. But when we split it and chant, we say Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastha Niryogatshema Atmavan. That's a Sandhi rule which applies there. That is the reason it is chanted. So I thought I'll just clarify that first. So we saw the literal meaning of this verse in the last session, and that's where we left. Whereas Bhagwan says in this verse, Vedaha Vishayaha Traigunya. The subject matter of Karma Kand of Veda, or the branches of the Karma Kand of Veda, they all cover the topic which are within the 3 gunas. And I told you in the last session, 3 gunas are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So whatever you see in this world, in the seen world, in the comprehended world, in the, when I say comprehended world, the comprehension happens from, sound, touch, by when you see something. So whatever you can comprehend with your 5 senses, as Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all those things are within these 3 gunas. Everything in this creation, whatever results you can think of, whatever karmakand of Veda can make you achieve, the achievement will always be within the 3 guna, because whatever is gained from them, it is going to be something which is made out of 3 guna. Whether it is object, whether it is your final goal achievement. When I say a final goal achievement is gati also, the way I say it, when the final achievement and with these is karma kand, and when you do, whatever you achieve as a result of it will always be within the 3 gunas. In objects or things or even lokas. Lokas means worlds, which are like, when we call it heaven, hell and whatever. All these lokas and everything is made of 3 guna. So, the limitation of karma kanda of Veda, or the different and ceremonious things which are told by karma kanda, which are told by the karma kanda or elaborated by the karma kanda of Vedas, whatever they can make you achieve as a result is going to be something which is part of these 3 guna, made of these 3 guna is the word actually I'll use. Any object you think of, any loka you think of, any loka I'm talking about, you think of, they will all be falling under the 3 guna. They will all be made of 3 guna, they will be sustained in 3 guna, and they will dissolve in 3 guna. This is what 3 guna means, the 3 gunas, which is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So, and I used one more thing in the last session, that here, because Bhagwan is talking about this verse in Dwapar Yuga. This, when we say Traigunya Vishaya Veda, you can correspond that at that particular point in time to Karmakand of Vedas. But in today's world, when we talk about, you should not only consider the Karmakand of Vedas only. You should consider Traigunya Vishaya Veda as everything what you see is achieved out of action today, through your own action, whatever hard work we put, whatever action we do in this world. So when I say karmakand of Vedas, pertaining to the time of up to Dwapar and all, even though karmakand of Vedas are done now also, but now the action line is little separate also because of many other things there. So the limitation of action is what Bhagwan is talking about. You may do whatever action, however much amount of glorification that action may have been done with. Somebody may have glorified that to that limit possible. I told you in one of the sessions also that when the karmakand of Vedas talks about different ceremonial things, different yaga, yajna, upasana and all, it always talks about something called falashruti. Falashruti is what? If you do this in the correct form and manner as prescribed by Vedas, do it for a particular period of time as mentioned in Veda, the way it is elaborated there, it is definitely bound to give you the result which is mentioned in the Falashruti. So you will see every upasana, every yaga and yajna will always have something associated with as Falashruti. You do this, you will get this, because the nature of human is such that without an end result in mind, it is very difficult for motivating our mind and pushing our mind into action. Because generally what happens is man wants to achieve maximum with the little effort. This is the trend which this is the kind of nature which a man and mind of a person has. Man and doesn't mean man or woman difference here. I'm talking about humans here. Every human being here, their intent is one that with least of efforts they should be able to get maximum of result. This is the intent which many of us work through, which you see around. When you go and manage employees also, you will see that there is this thing which comes up, that when cat is away, mice is at play. Because the moment the boss or somebody goes, then the employees are at their own will. They may be working, may not be working. There are many things like that. So the intent of human is what? That I should be able to get maximum result with minimum of efforts. But it doesn't work like that. So what Vedas do, Karmakanda of Vedas do, they tell you that you do this thing for this much amount of time in this prescribed process for this long a period, then it will definitely give you this kind of a result. So that result motivates the person to do it. Because if I want X result, I will do the X karma. If I want Y result, I may do the Y karma. Because for every action, for every karmakand and of Veda, they have all elaborated upon the kind of result which is going to derive for you. So, if you want some different result, you can do different action. In the same way, you look at the current action scenario, current work world, current professional world, you will see that, every professional action will derive into different results. And I have already spoken in the last couple of shlokas, Bahushaka hi anantascha. The karmakand, the branches of karmakand spreads into very many different directions. And every action will have its corresponding result. And if you want to change the result, change the action and the result will change. So that's how the action world, the world of action is divided into. So here Bhagwan says, Arjun, the first thing which you need to mark, and remember, this shloka Bhagwan is intending at who is this shloka aimed at? Bhagwan is talking, he already covered the topic of Sankhya, which is the knowledge about the self. Then he said, to gain the knowledge of self, now I'm going to start a new topic, which is Karma Yoga. Why Karma Yoga was important? To prepare your antakarana, to prepare your inner equipments to grasp the knowledge of that self, which is very, very subtle, you need to put into a process that you should follow through the Karma Yoga. Now, remember one thing, these things which Bhagavan is talking about now, Arjun, if a person wants to gain an intellect which is able to understand and follow Karma Yoga, this verse becomes very, very important for that. To prepare yourself to be acceptable, to able to grasp Karma Yoga and to follow Karma Yoga, this verse becomes very important. That person who wants to do Karma Yoga and who wants to gain from Karma Yoga and who wants to use Karma Yoga as a tool to gain towards the Sankhya Yoga, for that person, certain things that person need to keep in mind. The first and foremost thing which Bhagavan wants that person to keep in mind, who is interested in Karma Yoga, he wants to follow Karma Yoga, he wants to develop an intellect to, imbibe the whole process of Karma Yoga into it, and also make an intellect which can follow through the Karma Yoga. The first point which such a person need to remember is Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. All the kind of actions which we see in this world, including the ones told by the Karmakanda, including the ones which other people, Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham, I've already spoke about, those people who glorify action, glorify karma, they talk about their achievement level is only one or the other thing within the three guna. Anything which is made out of these is one of these three gunas, or these three gunas in different varying degrees of combination. So Bhagavan says the first thing you need to keep in mind is Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Whatever you do, your achievement will always be within this Triguna alone. Then he says, now the next portion Bhagavan talks about, since whatever action you do, whatever Karmakanda tells you to do, your achievement is only going to be one of these three, things made out of these three guna only, or the lokas or the achievement will always be within something which is part of this three guna only. So Arjun, I want you to set yourself with these 5 things you need to keep in mind. And when I say keep in mind, such a person who want to do Karma Yoga, he needs to pass a resolution for himself or herself that these are the 5 things which I'll always be alert towards, I'll grasp them and I'll aim at them to continually develop through and work through in my life. The moment and these 5 things which Bhagavan is going to talk about, somebody has gained, that person has prepared himself or herself to be able to follow Karma Yoga in an absolute, systematic manner, and will definitely slowly, gradually fall back and develop an intellect which will be ready to grasp the Sankhya Yoga, the knowledge about the Brahman or the knowledge about the self. What are the 5 things which Bhagavan wants us to adopt in our life, wants us to be alert towards in our life, wants us to critically look for and work towards us gaining that? Now remember one thing, the 5 things which I already told you in the last session also, I'm only elaborating it in this session. And the word which you need to understand is, Bhagavan says, hey Arjuna, Tvam, you bhava, you become like this. And I told you the bhava word is used as an order. Bhagavan wants us to keep in mind this is where we have to aim at. So the 5 things which Bhagavan talks about is, Arjun, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, the topic of Vedas, the topic of Karmakanda, the topic of all the action will be some of one or any of the achievement which is going to be within these 3 guna. So what you should do, how you should become, Tvam, hey Arjuna, Nistraigunyo Bhava. So the first order Bhagavan, which Bhagavan gives Arjuna is, hey Arjuna, Nistraigunyo Bhava. Hey Arjuna, Nirdvandvo Bhava. Second one, hey Arjuna, Nitya Sattvasto Bhava, Niryogatshema Bhava, and Atmavan Bhava. So Nistraigunyo Bhava, first one, Nirdvandvo Bhava, second one, Nitya Sattvastaho Bhava, third one, Niryogatshema Bhava, fourth one, and the 5th one and the last one is Atmavan Bhava. Now, first let me just pick up the word Bhava. This Bhava word you must have heard if not directly, if you have gone to temple, well, some pujari or pandit may have already, said that to you as a blessing. Or if you would have even seen in, our cultural serials, the one which had played on the television, like Ramayana or Mahabharata, you will see whenever somebody meets a rishi, somebody meets a sadhu or sannyasi, and they seek blessing from them, they will use some word called, oh, Ayushman Bhava. Okay, the first thing which you must have heard, Putravan Bhava or Putravati Bhava. Okay, second one, and Vijayi Bhava. These three things you must have commonly heard about. So the word Bhava means, hence you need to understand when they say Ayushman Bhava, may you have a long life, may you attain long life. Ayushman Bhava means may your life be very long. So technically the Bhava word is used. Why? That means currently your age and your life may be limited, but I pray that you become one having a long life. That means currently you do not have. Okay, that's the first thing. Dhanvan Bhava. You may not be, wealthy right now. Dhanvan Bhava means wealthy. May you become wealthy. So you're not wealthy now. So, you may not be wealthy as per your definition or the definition of the world. So I pray or I bless you to become wealthy. So, Dhanvan Bhava. Putravan or Putravati Bhava. This is usually asked by a, couple who have not or have a child in their married life. So they say, please bless us to have a child or something. So the sadhu sannyasi or the rishi may say Putravan Bhava or Putravati Bhava, depending upon who this one is given to. If it's given to a female, he may say, he may say that Putravati Bhava. And if it's given to a male, they say Putravan Bhava. So Putrivan Bhava, whichever way you can say it, Putra here doesn't mean only son, they mean child actually. So this is how, Bhava means something in you may achieve that which you are not at that level right now. So remember one thing, Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, you may have followed, the principles and the, action according to the Vedas, the Karma Kand of Vedas. You may have followed through your life about that. But now, for grasping Karma Yoga, what I want you to become, I want you to become Nistraigunyo. Now, the one thing which we may need to remember here is that, and I told you, this verse, if not explained correctly in the correct manner, it can be misunderstood also. I would use the word, I told you in the last session also, I also did not understand when I heard it many, many years before even I, studied Vedanta. When I heard this verse in its literal meaning, I actually did not understand it at all. It says Traigunya Vishaya Veda. And Veda means all the portion of Veda. How do we decipher whether it is only talking about Karmakand? That is where, the knowledge of Sanskrit and, more importantly, more than the knowledge of Sanskrit, actually studying under a guru becomes critically important. I'm using the word critically important. Why? Because, our scriptures, especially because they are in Sanskrit and, because of our education system, we are, left far from understanding Sanskrit. Sometimes we may read literal meaning. Sometimes we may try to, check with dictionary and read the meaning. But we may not be able to understand the full import. The thing is, when you say Traigunya Vishaya Veda, and I told you, Veda has got three portions. Karmakand, Upasana Kand, and Jnana Kand. So, Veda comprises of three portions. Okay? Karmakand, Upasana Kand, and Jnana Kand. The karma and upasana falls under karma kand of Vedas. Upasana is also karma, so they fall under the karma kand of Vedas. But jnana kand actually is also called Vedanta. Vedanta means it's not at literal meaning is at the end of Vedas, which comes at the end of Vedas actually, but here the end of Vedas is not the actual meaning. The conclusive portion of Vedas as those portion of Vedas which summarizes the whole teaching and leads you to a ultimate goal of your life is actually called Vedanta. Ant of Veda also means the final conclusion of Vedas. So if you read this verse, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, that Veda, all the portions of Veda talks about everything which is within the Triguna only. The danger which happens is if you put Gyan Kand also into this particular verse as Traigunya Vishaya, that means even the self is also within the Triguna. No, it's not. Or so that is why teaching or studying under the under an able guru becomes very important. Why? Then only somebody will be able to explain what this actually means. So here the Veda word has to be understood as the karmakand of Vedas alone. So whatever karmakands gives you as an achievement is going to be something which is part of Triguna or made of Triguna, or with a different combination of one of these three gunas also. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, what I want you to aim at, I want you to become Nistraigunyo. I want you to cross over Triguna. Now, the thing is, when we are in the form of Jiva, the first thing you need to remember is, when we live as a Jiva, crossing over Triguna is not possible. Why? Because remember one thing, whatever we consume, however we survive, whatever nourishes us is all part of Triguna. What to say about that? Even our antakarana, our man, buddhi, chit and ahankar is also made of Triguna. When everything in this life is made of Triguna, how do you intend to cross over Triguna and go there? So the way you need to understand this Nistray Gunyo is, Bhagwan is not giving you some impractical teaching here. He is not telling you that remaining as a jiva, you cross over Triguna and you attain and something which is beyond Triguna. No, this Nistray Gunyo, Bhavarjuna, you have to understand in this way. Bhagwan is talking about, yes, the topic of Karmakand of Vedas will make you achieve things only which are within the three gunas. So Arjun, what I want you to do, I want you to raise your bar and choose something for you in your life which is beyond Triguna, which is not within Triguna at all. So here, Nistray Gunyo Bhava has to be understood in such a way that Bhagwan is talking to us to correct our choice in life. Now the choice in life are also split into two portions. You need to understand that. When we lead through life, there are one particular kind of a choice which we make in life is called temporary choice or impermanent choice, which keeps changing. Like for example, when we were very small kid, in below 5 years and all, our choice will be always about different kinds of toys, right? And remember that with every growth level, the kind of toys we choose will change. It's not that when I was born and I started playing with them, and the toys I used to play will be the one which I'll play for other part of my childhood. No, it doesn't work like that. These are called temporary choices. So when I grow up, then when I start going to school, my choices starts to change. And then when I come to senior classes in the school, my choices change. When I come to classes like in our one graduation, near graduation and all, my choices change because then I start to choose who's seeing a bigger portion of my life, and I start to make a choice. I want to study this, I want to study medicine, I want to study engineering. That depends on my choice in life, about my interest in life. I choose like that. When I go into graduation and I pass through the graduation, then my choices change. Some children who have studied in engineering also, they don't want to go for post graduation, they want to go for MBA because their choices in life change. So these are called temporary choices. And remember one thing, if we have a life and we are all alive, these temporary choices will keep coming and going in our life. Bhagwan is not talking about them, because as we lead through the life, we have to make some temporary choices, as depending upon the age, depending upon the stage in life, depending upon many things in life. Bhagwan is not talking about that here. Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, these temporary choices can be there, doesn't matter. But in your life, you must choose one end goal. That choice Bhagavan is talking about. Bhagavan is talking about what is your ultimate goal in life. These temporary choices cannot become ultimate. Now, the reason I'm saying that, and I'm laying some stress on this to make you understand is, see, a man man can be seen the way he makes the choice in life. I'm just giving you some examples to make you understand this. For example, somebody chooses money for, or that person in his life. His only choice in life is money. Now remember, if somebody has chosen money, then for that person who has chosen money as his ultimate goal in life, for that person, dharma and adharma doesn't matter. For that person, the way to make money also doesn't matter. By hook or crook, that person will make money. Why? Because his ultimate choice is money. Now, take another example. For somebody, ultimate choice is power. I'm talking about Bhoga and Aishwarya first time, which I've already covered in the 44th verse. Somebody choose power in life. For that person, power becomes very important. That is his ultimate choice. The more powerful I am, the more happy I will be. So when somebody chooses power, remember his first choice being power, by hook or crook, he will make sure that he gets that power. Now, for that power, he will be clever also. He will, trample someone also. He or she will, overpass someone, may even forego relationships also, may make many compromises in life because his ultimate goal is what? Power. So, a man and will be according to what he chooses in life. Now, for example, in the same, why should I give only negative example? Let me just give you correct one and good example also. For example, some person chooses in life that come what may, I will do dharma. There are many people like that. Remember, their prime goal becomes dharma. Then what they will do? They will not look for whether they gain or loss. They will not even look for that. They won't. It doesn't even matter to them whether they get power also or not. But since their choice is dharma, they will make sure that they never stoop down from that level of dharma. They will make sure that by mistake also they should not end up committing any adharma. Why? Because they have made a choice like that. Now, here Bhagavan says, Arjun, all those choices, even the examples which I gave, they are all within the Triguna. You have an option in life to choose something which is beyond Triguna. And I gave you one example. In Bhakti's language, choose God. Remember, God is always beyond Triguna. And I gave you one term there, Maya Gun Gopar. Bhagwan is always beyond Maya. Bhagwan is what? He is Maya Teeth. His Maya Teeth means he's beyond Maya. He is something who controls Maya. He has got Maya under his control. He has got ownership over Maya. So he's got his Maya Teeth also. He is having a control over Maya also. And another thing which Bhagwan, and it suits Bhagwan, is that he is someone who has absolute control on Maya. Because of that, he can help somebody cross over Maya also. He is not Maya Antargat, he is beyond Maya. So, Maya Gun Gopar, he is beyond Maya. Yan Maya Vashavarti Vishwamakhilam, the one under whose control the Maya is, because Maya is his power only. It will come Mama Maya Duratya when the shlok comes in, when the verse comes in Bhagavad Gita. I'll take it up. So the one way in Bhakti's language is to choose Bhagwan, to choose God, because God is beyond Trigun. That's the way to look at the Bhakti's language. For person who is devoted towards self in Sankhya and all his way of looking at it will be, the choice should be Atma, Paramatma or Brahman. If he chooses that, that is beyond Maya again. So that is what Bhagwan is wanting to tell you. Nistray Gunyo Bhava. So here Bhagwan is telling us to be alert and have an ultimate choice in life which is beyond Triguna. Remember, we have that option. We can choose us within Triguna also and then lead a life, and then life will be, whole life will go in just managing those things, achieving those things, because these things will keep changing. So something will give you happiness now, that will start giving you sorrow later on. You can see anything within Triguna, you will see that. So here Bhagwan says, Arjun, you have an option to choose something which is beyond Triguna. So yan maya vashavarti vishwam akhilam. You have the opportunity to choose God. You have the opportunities to choose self. You have the opportunity to choose Paramatman. You have the opportunity to choose Brahman. In Kathopanishad, Nachiketa is the student there in the Kathopanishad. He uses one word which is beautiful. So Nistray Gunyo is about, there is one word which I am giving you. It's called Varan. Varan means choice in life. The Varan is a much bigger word though. I'm talking about Varan means the ultimate choice in life. In Kathopanishad, Nachiketa says, Varastume varaniyassa eva. Amongst all the things which you can ask as boon, the ultimate is actually Bhagwan, and in Bhakti's language, or the self in the language of Sankhya. So he says the ultimate of Varastume varaniyassa eva, amongst all that which can be asked about, all that which can be gained, choosing that ultimate is the actual goal, is the actual ultimate pinnacle achievement of a being, of a human being here. So Nistray Gunyo Bhava Arjuna. Arjun, I want you to actually have this choice correctly in your life, that while you may work through temporary achievements, you may work through temporary goals, because that is important for or you to keep your life going, because through these temporary things only you keep up your life moving. Because when we lead a life, if these temporary things keep coming up and we have to choose, we have to win over, we have to move on. But the biggest thing you need to remember is that you have to choose the ultimate goal. Keep that ultimate goal. The moment you choose the ultimate goal, remember one thing: all the temporary goals which you keep in your life will always fall within that ultimate goal. The example I gave you, if ultimately you choose money as the only goal in your life, or the ultimate goal in your life, you see how things start falling within. The temporary goal will be, it doesn't matter whether I earn it through dharma, adharma, by hook or crook, I want to earn money. See, everything starts falling into the ultimate goal. In the same way, when you keep the ultimate goal, ultimate choice in your life, that come what may, even if I am able to move an inch, doesn't matter, I want to keep moving in my life for or reaching my ultimate goal. Doesn't matter whether I'm able to achieve it in this life or not. Even if I'm able to move an inch, so what? I moved an inch, closer to my ultimate goal. So when you keep that choice of ultimate goal in your life, of supreme as Bhagwan, and or the Paramatman or the self, of whichever way, remember your attitude changes, because your ultimate goal becomes God. Then you become what? I am only at the disposal of God. My whole life, my every action, every temporary goal should be only a service to my God, because my ultimate goal is God. So that is what Bhagwan means by saying Nistray Gunyo Bhava. Hey Arjuna, Tum Nistray Gunyo Bhava. You have the correct choice in life to choose those things, or choose that which is beyond Triguna, so that you don't keep toggling between life and death, birth and death here. So what doesn't matter, even if you move an inch, you move a little bit distance also, at least you have moved towards your ultimate goal. Now remember, Upanishad to praises this is very very much. I know at the many places it is said very clearly, when about the self, it is said that Ultimately, only those who choose self, they only for them only the self reveals itself. So, oh, that shloka is there in Kathopanishad also. Many places is in Upanishad it is mentioned that ultimately you have to choose that self, and once you choose the self itself will try to reveal ill to you. Remember, Nayam Atma. The shloka goes this way. The Veda mantra goes this way in Veda. Nayam Atma pravachane na labhyah न मेधया न बहुना श्रुतेन यमे वैश वृणुते तेन लभ्यः तस्यैष आत्मा विवृणुते तनुम स्वाम. So the Upanishad mantra says Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyah. You do lot of talk about the self, or you give discourses about the self, you give discourses of Vedant, and Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyah, and you give discourses about the self only, Brahman, Vedanta only. Even though you have done lot of discourses, you won't gain the self. Then it says, Nayamatma pravachane labhyah, na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. You have got very good memory that you can memorize as many shlokas and many things said in the scriptures. Sorry, dear, that won't let you gain the self. Na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. I have heard many discourses about the self. Sorry, that also won't be able to get you gain the self. Nayam Atma pravachane labhya na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. Yame vaishav vrunute tena labhya. This is where I use the word varan. Yame vaishav vrunute tena labhya. That one which chooses the self as the ultimate choice in his life. Yame vaishav vrunute tena labhya. That person gains the self. He may not have read too many scriptures. He may not have given too many discourses. He may not have memory to remember or memorize many verses and shlokas. He may not have heard at many places, but he has made the correct choice in life. Yame vaisha vrunute tena labhyah. That person who has made this choice, who has done this varan, who has done this ultimate choice as of that I want self and self alone as my ultimate choice. Tasyaisha atma vivrunute tanum swam. To that person who has chosen the self itself decides to reveal itself to that person. That is the Upanishad mantra, it says. So that is why this Nistraya Gunyo you need to understand that make the choice that doesn't matter how much you move, how much you gain towards that path, how much you gain towards covering the distance between where you are today and reaching that self, but you will make the choice ultimately of that self and attaining that self. That is the ultimate choice. And one more thing I'll tell you. I may think that I don't even have the qualification to deserve the self. It is not your worry, not your problem at all. I don't even deserve to know the self. I don't even deserve, don't have any qualities. I have nothing in me good to actually gain or move towards the self. Doesn't matter. At least make the choice of the self. Rest of the things will start falling into the place. You will slowly gradually become adhikari also, don't worry about that. You will slowly gradually become qualified also to gain the self. The rest of the things will automatically, I told you when you choose the ultimate goal as that, the temporary goals in your life will also fall in line with that ultimate goal. It's not that I want to go to north, but my temporary goal will be south and deep south. It doesn't work like that. If you decide to take a journey towards the north, you may have temporary stops somewhere, which we usually call layovers and stopovers or whatever, but they will be only stopovers in towards the actual destination. They can't be that your destination is probably you're going to US, traveling to US, but your stop is in Australia. It can't be, because ultimate temporary stops will also be in the line to that one. In the same way, when you choose the goal as self, as God, your temporary goals will also start falling in line to that. That is why Bhagwan gave the first statement. First he explained what? Arjun, understand the entire Karmakand of Vedas or any action what you see in this world can only get you gain things which are within the triguna. And how you should be, even though they may be able to get you to gain that, you may temporarily do all those things, but as an ultimate goal, don't aim at that. Aim at always something which is beyond triguna. At least choose that in your ultimate goal in your life. Then Bhagwan says, from this he moves to the next one. You need to understand these 5 things move in their right sequence the way Bhagwan has given. So sequence is also important. Now after Nistray Gunyo Bhava, Bhagwan says, Arjun, the second thing he puts up is, Arjun, and you become what? Nirdvandva Bhava. Dvandva means what? In this world, in this life you see, whatever you comprehend in this life will always be in the pair of opposites. Pair of opposites means you just think of anything in life. Happiness, sorrow. Okay. Achievement, failure. You think of Vijay, Parajay. You can think of anything. Now, in the climatic factor also what you feel, heat and cold. Everything in this creation always moves in a pair of opposites. And I'll tell you, when I read through Bhagwan Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya, I'll use there. Bhagwan Shankaracharyaji uses one very beautiful word to explain Nirdvandva. Sab pratipakshau padarthau. Dvandva shabda vachyau tato nirgato nirdvandvo bhava. Anyway, when I'll come to that, I'll explain that. But Bhagwan says, Arjun, you need to understand one thing. This whole creation is all full of pair of opposites. And these opposite pairs always moves together. So, just remember I told you in one of the shlokas as previously also, that if happiness comes in your life, just be sure that sorrow is also somewhere around the corner. It's not that happiness will remain permanent. Happiness, and the same thing goes for sorrow also. If sorrow is there in your life, remember happiness is somewhere around only, because sorrow also can't remain permanent in your life. They always moves in pair of opposite. In the same way, now we are moving into winters, in a month or so, peak winters in India will pick up. So when the winters starts, you start feeling the cold, just think that in the summer is also going to be around the corner. And because winter also is not permanent, the same way summer is also not going to be permanent. So all these pair of opposites Arjun understand, and they always move in pair of opposites. How you should become something. Now this verse, this word Nirdvandvo Bhava is actually an explanation of 15th mantra only, of 15th verse of Bhagavad Gita only, where Bhagwan used that and said in that verse, Yamhi na vyathayantyete purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram swamrtatvaya kalpate. This is actually Bhagwan is explaining the same shloka here. This is an explanation of same shloka. Yamhi na vyathayantyete, that one who doesn't get impacted in a manner or to just impact and derail him in life with these dvandva. He says, Yamgina Vyatayantete, Purusham Purusharshaba. He is what? Bull among men. He is courageous among men. He is actually among the men. He is the one who is courageous. Samadukha Sukham Dhiram Swamrtatvaya Kalpate. And what? Yamhina Vyathayanti Ete. Ete means all these pair of opposites, Bhagwan said. And because Matra Sparshastu Kontaya continued from there. No? Matra Sparshastu Kontaya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkada. In explanation of that 15th verse, Bhagwan says, Ete means there, Matra and the Shita, Ushna and Sukha Dukkha and all. So Bhagwan says, Arjun, the one who doesn't get impacted in a negative way, who doesn't waste his time in reacting to those things, he is the one who is bull among men, and he is the one who samadukha sukham dhiram. Bhagwan used the word dhiram. He is the one who is actually courageous according to me. So amritatvaya kalpate. He is the one who is ready amritatvaya to gain amrita. Amrita means here self-knowledge, because that was part of the Sankhya Yoga only when Bhagwan was saying. Now Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji used to say one very beautiful old word there. He says, is, we really don't act, we generally react. So, technically speaking, we don't act, we generally react. So, the way he used to say that, the way we used to understand is that Gurudev used to say, we hardly act, we generally react. And just look at everybody's life. Most of the time, we are only actually reacting to things. And because of this permanent engagement with reaction, we lose something called action. We lose to act. So we hardly act, we generally react. Pujya Swami Sharananandji Maharaj used to say, one of the biggest mistakes of human beings is that they consider situation to be their life. And they spend their whole life managing situation, and they fail to understand this situation is only one of the things in life. Situations can't be life. Just think, whenever a situation comes in life, we become so much engaged, and I use the word firefighting here. We get so much engaged in fighting through that, in reacting through that, that we actually end up losing time on acting. If a person can maintain his equanimity in these situations which come in life, remember one thing, his knowledge and wisdom will be available for him to act through those things. When you react, the problem is you react, then when you react towards someone, that person will also react towards you. So you end up going into a whirlpool of reactions. I'll use one word which Puja Guruji Swami Subodhananji used to say. Some lawyers, they are very smart. They're very smart means they will use some statements and in the whole process of, going through the case, that they will provoke you to react. In that provocation of reaction, and actually these lawyers will end up gaining. Why? They will provoke you in such a way that you end up saying something which you are not supposed to disclose during the entire case going on in the court and the court at all. So they will provoke you in such a way that you are forced to say something, this which is what I said. We actually react, we generally react, we hardly act. Puja Gurudev's word is so beautiful there. So man actually ends up going through or fighting through these pair of opposites, fighting through this situation day in and day out. In that pursuit, what happens is his entire energy, his entire knowledge, his entire time gets into just managing this situation, because of which his actual core thing of acting in life starts to get missed out from this whole thing. And remember, from act only you can make your life. From reactions you can't make your life. That is why Bhagavan says, hey Arjun, tvam nirdvandvo bhava. You should be what? You should be actually somebody who is able to, go above these pair of opposites. So remember, nirdvandvo bhava doesn't mean that you will not feel them. Staying in a human body, it is not possible that dvandva won't come to you. It is not possible that you won't feel dvandva. You will not feel these pair of opposites. Bhagavan is not telling you something impractical. Mind and this thing here. Bhagavan is not telling you to do something impractical that, I'm telling you whether dvandva come or not, don't feel it. You just grow above them. That's not what Bhagavan is saying. Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, develop your intellect in such a way that you are able to manage through them without getting bothered, without getting agitated, without being reactive. Because I'm just telling you one thing, In summers, and I give this example in the past also, and when I explaining other verses also, just think for a moment when the summer comes, and you will see people saying, "Oh my God, how hot it is! How hot it is! It's so hot! It's so bloody hot! This, that, and all." The more you say it, you are actually forcing your mind to feel it more with this reaction, because you are internalizing that which is supposed to be kept external. It is, you may crib, cry, whatever. Summer will remain for its entire period. Your cribbing and cry will not reduce the duration of the summer. The same way goes for winters which are coming now. Some people say, "Oh, how cold, how cold. I don't know how to manage. Why is it so cold?" The more you say it, you are internalizing that fact. And the more you internalizing it, you are forcing yourself to go through the whole feeling. Bhagwan is not saying that you will not feel it. Just feel it, keep it external. It needs to be kept where it is. Feel through it and move on. Don't end up spending too much time managing it, because you just need to protect yourself from it and move on. If it is summers, protect yourself. There are many tools available outside. If it is winters, protect yourself. Rather than cribbing and crying about it, protect yourself and move on. Do what is important to do, but don't end up wasting too much time managing or reacting through these is pair of opposites, because these pair of opposites are not within your control, or they will come and go. The only thing man can do is have a calm mind without getting impacted, without getting bothered, without getting agitated. Pass through them, let it come and go. So that is what Bhagwan meant by, "Hey Arjuna, nirdvandvo bhava." The next word Bhagwan says is, so remember the sequence, don't forget. First, have the right choice in life. Ultimate goal, all you should keep as something, as that which is beyond Triguna, the one which is managing Triguna, which is actually the controller of Triguna. Keep that as your ultimate choice in life. Once you have done that, the next facet is, these pair of opposites will keep coming in your life, keep coming and going, keep coming and going. Don't be too agitated about it. Don't get worried about them. Don't get carried away about with those things. Manage through them. Maintain equanimous mind without internalizing it. Just manage it at external level and move and pass through it without losing the peace of mind, without losing your intellect, without using the faculty of knowledge and wisdom. Just move through it. Now, the third thing which Bhagwan says is, "Hey Arjuna, nitya sattvasto bhava." Now, remember, I just said Triguna, sattva, rajas, tamas. Here, Bhagwan is using nitya sattvasto bhava. Now, remember one thing, in life, we need to remember, when we remain in human body, when we remain in a human life, it is not possible for us to remain in sattva ever. Now, I will explain you what it means actually. Sattva is the nourisher of knowledge and wisdom. We call it viveka. Sattva जो है वो विवेक का पोषक है. It is the nourisher of wisdom. If sattva is the nourisher of wisdom and knowledge, then rajas is the nourisher of action or creation. अगर सत्व विवेक का पोषक है, तो रजस जो है वो सृजन का पोषक है. सृजन मीन्स क्रिएशन, मीन्स action, doing something, creating something. So, without rajas, a man cannot create anything. When I say create means there are many things. Day-to-day life also, you have to do something, create something, and recreate something, correct something. All those are creation only. So, the rajas is actually a nourisher of creation or action. Now, tamas is actually the nourisher of rest, विश्राम. तमस जो है वो विश्राम का पोषक है. विश्राम मीन्स रेस्ट. Now remember one thing, when Bhagwan is saying, why I'm using this word and I'm explaining you this way, if Bhagwan is saying Nitya Sattvasto Bhava, when if somebody is able to develop such thing that he's always in Sattva, then that person cannot create anything, that person will not get rest. For sleep, tamas is important, is critical. Without tamas, you can't rest. Now, the other way to look at it is that, when we use this word Maya, now Trigunatmika Maya, when I use, actually, when that verse comes, I'll explain it at that time. Trigunatmika Maya. At that time, I'll explain that. But you need to remember, Trigun is Maya. One of the things which we talk about Maya actually binds us, right? But remember one thing, that's not the only aspect of Maya. Yes, that's true that Maya binds us, because even if you look at any of these three gunas, when I'll come to that shloka verse, I'll explain that over there. Trigun actually binds us, that's true. Sattva also binds us, as Rajas also binds us, Tamas also binds us, means Sattva also has got the power to bind us, Rajas also has the power to bind us, and Tamas also has got the power to bind us. Yes, that is definitely one of the property and nature of Maya. That's true that Maya is bandhanatmika. It actually binds us. But the other side of Maya also, you must know, Maya is actually also beneficial to us. It is required for our survival. As I just mentioned, if Sattva is the nourisher of wisdom and knowledge, then for creation and action, actually Rajas is the nourisher. So actually, Maya is also beneficial to us, provided we know the correct way. We know how to manage them. So, and Tamas, I just see the beauty of Tamas also. If we do not have Tamas, just think, you just try to function without rest for more than 2 days. Don't sleep for 2 days and then function. You will realize it yourself. You won't be able to function after a while. So it is such a beautiful arrangement of this creation that all these three guna moves through us, or we move through these three gunas during a day. That's besides the point, that there are people who are in, amongst these three guna, they are always in one guna also. There are people who are ghor tamasic also. There are people who are completely rajasic also. There are people who are, completely sattvic also. There are kind of people there. But the point I want to say is that you see the beauty of arrangement of this nature, that they have got something called tamas, which is a forceful way to give our equipments a rest so that they are available for functioning the next day. Just think, our entire Karana Samudaya, our entire group of equipments within us, they are forced to go through a rest period because of tamas, and because of which we are able to function day by day in our efficiency. Remember, the less rest you get, the biggest disaster which happens is that your efficiency starts to go down. So then we, if all the three guna is important, what does Bhagwan mean by this point that Nitya Sattvastha? Arjun, you be in such a way that you have placed yourself in Sattva actually. Now remember one thing, here what Bhagwan means, Nitya Sattvastha means, in your life, Sattva should be the primary guna. Okay? Nitya Sattvastha means Sattva should be your primary guna in life. Rajas and Tamas should follow Sattva in your life. Okay? This is what Bhagwan means by Nitya Sattvastha. Means Sattva should be the primary guna in your life, and it should be the guiding factor in your life, and both Rajas and Tamas follow Sattva guna in you. Now remember, if Rajas follows Sattva guna, I'm just giving you the example here only, just think your wisdom and knowledge becomes primary, and just think if your creation and action is with knowledge and wisdom being primary, if creation and action is within that knowledge and wisdom, how beautiful your action, how beautiful your creation will become. You know, all those scientists and all those inventions which are done, you see them, they are able to carve out the beauty. Why? If you see beauty in the creations and inventions, you will see because they have the knowledge and wisdom backing it. That's besides the point that many inventions lack the end to end view in terms of how it is going to impact in a holistic way, in terms of creation. Like I'm giving you an example, that way, invention and creation, even atom bomb is also a creation, right? But how disastrous creation, what a disastrous creation it is. Now you see that because of that creation, what happened in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we should not forget that at all. Or you see how much mass destruction happened, and that too, killing of innocent people for no rhyme and reason, for no fault of theirs. They had to die. This is the effect of invention and creation when you don't see the holistic picture. Now that was created some long time back. You see the current time now, all the countries who are powerful and or who are growing to become powerful, they have now started running in a spree of nuclear bomb testing and accumulating nuclear arsenal and all. God knows if war breaks, what's going to happen, what kind of destruction is going to lead to, we don't know. So this is what happens if sattva becomes primary, and it leads rajas for creation and action. Remember, your intellect, before even creating, before even inventing, will be able to see the full holistic picture end to end. And many times, if the creation is going to be disastrous, just because your or sattva is primary there, your knowledge and wisdom becomes primary there, it can also lead you to stop such inventions and creations before it is created. So that's one thing. Now the another way to look, another part of it to look at is that, just think the tamo guna. If sattva is primary in your life and tamo guna also follows the sattva guna, remember, your sleep will be according to your requirement. You will sleep that much which is important for your body and your equipments to function. It's not going to be in such a way that you are lying on the bed, you're just lying, neither getting sleep nor working also. It's not going to be like that. Your sleep can also be tamed, can be redesigned, can be disciplined, provided sattva is primary there. So just imagine, in your rest, your sleep, your tamas can also be redesigned, can also be tamed, can also be disciplined, provided sattva is primary there. Everything works in the light of sattva. That is what Bhagwan means here. Nitya sattvasto bhava means what? Arjun, carve out a life in such a way that sattva guna becomes primary in you, and other two gunas follow sattva guna. They work under the function of sattva guna. When sattva becomes primary, then remember, even tamo guna can be tamed, disciplined and redesigned. I'm just giving you one more example before I complete the session for today. That there are people who have to work in night shifts. Now, if sleep is something which is natural and as per the nature, then night shifts cannot be worked through. It's not possible for you to manage that. But because it's a well thought after decision to work in a night shift, and they train their mind and intellect like that, it may take time for them to redesign and or tame their sleep and other things, but it happens. They are able to work like that. So that is why, if sleep is natural, it should be natural for everyone, but then these kind of things can't function. But if sattva is primary, sleep can be tamed, for even rajas is primary also. Just think that if you have lot of work to do, lots and lots of work to do, and you have a deadline that you have to complete it before, or going to the office next day, you won't feel sleepy. You will automatically sit down and work. Sleep is automatically got redesigned and tamed for you. But here, that's not what Bhagwan is meaning here. Bhagwan is saying, Arjun, if your sattva is primary, just think, you consciously go to sleep And at times when you have, less time, you can rest for some time and then go for work. These days people have defined something called power nap. Power nap is also a intelligent way of managing your rest and sleep, right? So, when sattva becomes primary, every other guna, which is rajas and tamas, also works under the function of knowledge and wisdom. So, everything is well thought after, everything is well designed, well planned. So, things move in a synchrony in your life if sattva becomes primary. So, Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, carve out such a life that sattva guna becomes primary and other two gunas follow them. Rest we will see in the next session. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम तत्सत्।